make sure that you can hear me. Everyone can hear me okay? Hello, yes? They just left? Okay. They left the building. They left the building. I love me some kindergartners. Okay, great. Okay, welcome. I'm so happy to be here with you. I'm wondering who was here for the first time that I did a little something back in March. Raise your hand nice and high. So, okay, good. So some of you were here. So, okay. And so we are going to, this is part 2 of what I presented back in March. However, after I go through page 2, so we're going to actually start with, not the front, we're starting with Tools for Tough Times part 2. We're going to start there. And then with the time that we have left, we'll flip over, and if there's anything that you want to review or you have questions about that we did, it's been like, what, 6 months? If there's anything that you see that you want to revisit, I can show you again how to do it, and then we can kind of just go from there with the amount of time that we have left. And I love to always give people handouts to take home in case you want to remember how to do something, because it's often a lot of information. I was thinking about the timing of today, not just with the election and the war and everything that's going on in the world, but that meeting today lands on the day of Erev Sukkot. And I just think that's really special to me. And it got me thinking that the sukkah is an impermanent dwelling, right, for a limited amount of time. Just like our bodies are here, they're impermanent, and they're only here for a limited amount of time. And impermanence can feel really scary, change can feel scary, and it can make us want to become really attached to things that are pleasurable and really avoid and have great aversion to things that feel negative or not pleasurable. And that's just human nature. That's how we move through life. That's how we're wired. And so today, what my hope is always, when I'm working with folks, it's always to instill seeds of peace and to offer practices that you can make your own, so that you might, even though the world is impermanent and we're impermanent, that you might find an indwelling place that feels grounded and safe and peaceful and is just your true essence, a place to land always, like making a shelter of peace out of our own bodies for the time that we are blessed to be here. That is my intention with the things that I'm offering you today. So every time I teach, it's always experiential. So we're always practicing and trying things out. And we're going to do that today. So the handout, you don't really need to reference it unless you want to take a note on it, like something I do. You think, oh, I want to remember this, or something like that. You can take notes if you need to. But what we're going to do is I'm offering these tools to support roots of resilience. So this is the thing. It's important to practice these tools. Like we don't brush our teeth once and then say, I'm good now for the rest of my life. I'm good, I already did it one time. We don't do that. Stress is cumulative on our nervous systems and on our bodies, and so are self-care practices. They are cumulative. They make a difference. So I 100% recommend using these tools when we're feeling stressed or triggered and in the moment, right in the moment. And it's really, really great practice to do them when we're not feeling triggered, when we're having a good day, when we wake up and we're feeling, okay, I'm feeling pretty good. I haven't turned on the news yet. I'm feeling pretty good. And so those are also the times that we want to practice these techniques, because they get stronger, they build our resilience, so that when something happens that throws us off our center, just like start to blow our sukkah down, we can say, oh, I have this inside of me. I have access to this. I remember how it feels. Let me go there now. So that's always why we want to practice on a regular basis. So I'm going to share some things with you. So when we're feeling, there's so much wisdom in the room, so I just want to name that. Many of you are already going to know these things or practice them already, so I might be preaching to the choir about some of this stuff. But we always want to start with awareness. As soon as we're feeling off center, we just want to pause and name it, if we can. So starting with awareness, we might notice what we're feeling. We might be able to know that it's an emotion. We might be feeling scared or angry, or we may not have a way to label it yet, but we know that we're having sensations, like we're shaking, or we're tight, or we suddenly have a headache, or our stomach's hurting. So, emotions are gonna move through us in lots of different ways, depending on who you are. So just noticing with awareness. And then we'll do this right now. We want to orient ourselves to safety. So what you can do wherever you are, hopefully you're in a safe environment. Most of us are in a safe environment most of the time, luckily. We can just use our eyes, use our senses to look around the room. So I'm going to invite you all to just look around the room. You can look up and down and all around. Use your eyes. And as you look around, see if there's something in the room that is pleasurable to look at. And let your eyes settle on something. Maybe it's a color or an item. And when you find that to look at, just pause there and take some breaths and just really take that in visually. So this is a way to orient ourselves to safety. So practically speaking, if you're watching the news, I'm going to use that maybe a few times today, or you've just heard something really disturbing and you're feeling very off-center, you can pause, you can notice, bring the awareness in. I'm feeling really scared or I'm upset right now. You can just name that and then just start to look around. Look at your body, look at your surroundings, remind yourself that in this moment you're safe. And then we want to inhabit our body. So we want to use the senses to inhabit the body. So one of my favorite meditations is just, I call it the 5-4-3-2-1, and maybe some of you have done it before. But you use all of your senses to be inhabited in your body. So we'll say, let's use our eyes to see 5 things. So just look around, and as you locate something, just name it in your mind, and do that for 5 things. Name 4 things that we hear. So now it's much more quiet because the children left, but we can kind of still hear them. So listen for 4 things. What are 4 things that you hear? And now we'll move to the sense of touch or feeling. So we'll name 3 things we can feel, and that might be physically, texture-wise. It could also be something you're feeling internally, emotionally. So naming 3 things that you can feel right now. And so the last 2 get a little more challenging. So we can name 2 things that we smell. And even if you aren't able to name what you're smelling, just simply taking a deep breath in through your nose is really supportive. So just 2 things you smell, and then 1 thing you taste. 1 thing you taste or sense inside of your mouth. So that can really just bring everything in, right? Go right into our senses, these beautiful senses. Give yourself a hug. A long time. It's been a long time. Yeah. This is like weighted blankets and compression and squeezes and human hugs or something to a YouTube video that we posted on the Temple Isaiah YouTube. So we can help you with that if you need help with that. But that's there for you as a resource to remember that practice. The other thing that I personally find really helpful, and depending on your orientation, right, to your spirituality, if you are someone that likes to chant, I know there's a lot of people who like to chant at Temple Isaiah, or maybe you are very prayerful, or there's certain mantras or prayers that resonate with you, you can simply come back to words of comfort. And so I just have a couple of examples, like from Psalm 127, may I dwell in the house of God all the days of my life. And that's something that we've been saying for the month of Elul. That is one of the prayers that we come back to for the month of Elul before the High Holy Days. The other one that came to mind for me was Adonai li velo yirah. God is with me, I shall not fear. And we can sing that, we can say it, we can just remember it. You can make up your own, you can make up anything that helps you feel grounded and connected to your true essence, your true source. So chants, mantras, and prayer is a great way to use this as a technique if you are oriented that way. I know some of you practice Musar. Do we have any Musar practitioners in the room? So saying thank you for that, whatever's happening. So it's in our tradition. But this particular midah, or practicing, recognizing the good, is something to remember and to also practice. So our brain's designed to problem solve. It is not designed to definitely go to gratitude at first. So it's designed to problem solve rather than appreciate. And so we need to override this design in order to reap the benefits of gratitude. And there's so much science, as many of you know, associated with gratitude. Physical benefits, our blood pressure, our immune system is so much better when we're practicing gratitude. It can decrease depression, anxiety, chronic pain. The list goes on. So it can be really simple. I don't have a gratitude journal. I don't have time for a gratitude journal. I have one in my head. I don't write it down, but one thing I do every night, which is super simple, and I'll just share it. It's kind of an intimate thing to share because it's like my nighttime, bedtime practice. But as my head hits the pillow, I just say something really simple. Thank you, God, for this day, for guiding me in every way. And it rhymes, and it's easy to remember, and it feels authentic for me. And then I wake up and I say the same thing. It's in our morning liturgy to say, thank you, God, right? Moda ani, Moda ani. I just make it my own. Thank you, God, for this day, for guiding me in every way. And then I just believe that I'm going to be guided that day, and I'm grateful for it. So these are some of the practices that we can bring into our lives that reflect a sense of gratitude and connection. So in terms of holistic support, these are things that we all know. We know to eat well. In times of stress, we go straight for the carbs and the sugar and the caffeine and the alcohol because we're wired to do that. It helps get this quick energy burst. It helps us release serotonin and feel-good chemicals in our body to eat these yummy good things. Our body is infinitely wise. It knows to go for the quick fix. However, long term, that's not a great plan for us. So just a gentle reminder you're gonna do what you're gonna do. But let's try to avoid excessive amounts of sugar and caffeine and alcohol. And I have a book that I offer a reference to. It's called Eat to Beat Depression and Anxiety, and it's a 6-week program that takes you through some ways to clean up your diet in order to support your mental health. So I'm not to lose weight or any of that kind of stuff, although that might be a side effect. This is specifically written to help your mental health. So I have that as a reference for you. Drink a lot of water, practice good sleep hygiene. I think that some of the things I want to say, don't check your phone first thing in the morning, but I check my phone first thing in the morning. So I won't ever really tell you not to do something if I'm doing it. I mean, it's hard. Some of these practices are hard. But practicing good sleep hygiene, making sure you're getting enough rest so that you can handle the stressful events of life would be helpful. I'm a huge fan of getting outdoors more often. I say nature neutralizes. It neutralizes. You can feel like your whole world is falling apart and step outside and look up at the trees or look at the moon or go to the beach and then realize how tiny you are, how small we all are, and put us in a sense of perspective with the world all around us. And the problems will maybe still be there, right? But it gives us a break. Do we just want like a respite? We want like a little break, create some space between our reaction and what's happening in the world. And just move your body in a way that you enjoy. Some of you might exercise regularly, some of you may struggle with that, but just move your body the way that feels good. Walk, dance in your kitchen, just move your body. Your body wants to move. It likes to likes to move around. So these are just the part 2 of the tools for tough times. Are there any questions about this or additions to like maybe some things that you do that you find helpful? And then we can look at the first page and kind of review anything you're curious about. So anybody want to add to this list or something that they feel is helpful for them or have a question?
How much time do you wait in the morning before you look at your phone?
Not much because it's my alarm. So not much time, but I don't look at news on my phone in the morning. I usually just use it as my alarm or check it. Sometimes I'll get texts at night and I'll see those pop up. Usually those aren't stressful, thankfully. How about you all? How long does you take to pick up your phone in the morning or check the news? Not long. Not long. Were you going to say something?
Oh, I was going back to what makes me feel,
Yes.
Comfortable and relaxed. And music's a big one for me.
Music.
And I just automatically just go somewhere else. Music.
Music is, thank you for sharing that. That is a huge one. I agree completely. Yes.
I found something very helpful. I used to go to bed at night and put on the news before I go to sleep, and I certainly don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And it's much more helpful just reading a book,
Yeah, so you took away a practice, right? We can add practices. I think of like crowding out the less positive activities that don't support us. And so we can crowd out having the news on up till bedtime with reading a good book and resting our nervous system. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Yes?
I do like a foot soak, as if I was gonna have a pedicure, but I'm not. But the warm water and just sitting there, it's very soothing.
Okay, did everyone hear that? A foot soak. A foot soak without necessarily the pedicure, but I 100% agree. If you soak your feet in warm water, and especially if you use a little magnesium salt. So magnesium is very much helpful for mental and emotional health and reduces stress and relaxes your muscles. So eating foods that are high in magnesium, for example, leafy greens are high in magnesium, or even taking a magnesium supplement if your doctor doesn't have anything to say about that. Most of us are depleted in magnesium, and it can cause heart palpitations and really tight muscles and anxiety and all kinds of things. So if you're gonna soak your feet, throw in some magnesium salts and it will make you sleep better too, I promise. Yes, Erica?
I'll go along with hot water therapy. I take really hot bubble baths or showers at night.
The heat from the water,
As hot as possible.
as hot as possible. Wonderful. I have a friend, I don't like cold water. I know this is really good for you. She goes she has a gym that she goes to, and she'll take a hot shower or use a hot tub, and then she'll go into the shower and then take the coldest shower she can. And I know, I'll just throw it out there. It's very good for your nervous system. It really helps it to learn to respond in the moment to different stressors. I don't like that, but I'm throwing it out there. I know many people that say it works wonders on their anxiety. So thank you for the hot water recommendation. Anything else that people do? Yes.
So I like to start the morning with standing on one foot, and all my weight goes on one for 5 minutes. I don't know, as much as I can. Then I go on the other foot, and all my weight goes to the other foot, and it helps. I don't know what it does, but it does.
So I'm going to repeat it just for the recording, just in case that didn't come through on the recording. So tell me your name. Zahaba. So standing on one foot for as long as you can to balance. Sure, show us.
It's very strange.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like going like one foot,
Uh-huh.
and don't do it like stress. And then I go up.
And you just hold
And I'm
that as
getting
long as you
better at
can.
that. It's getting longer. Then
Yeah.
all my weight on the other one, as much as I can.
Yeah.
And it's getting longer and longer. And it does help to stretch your body.
Stretches your body. I mean, it's good for your brain too, and we all need to practice balance and functional balancing. It's so important. So thank you. I love these. These are great techniques that people are sharing. Yes, Tiana?
I do yoga stretches in bed. You know, stretch over this way, do the child's pose, stretch as far as I can, and you know, the cat and cow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it just keeps me kind of, you know,
In
it's
bed?
yeah, when I'm in bed.
Nice.
Yeah, so you start the yoga in bed.
Yeah.
Before you even get out, you start to
Mhm.
move it within your range of motion and kind of just get the blood flowing and
Yeah.
wake yourself up. Do you, have you noticed a difference when you don't do it? Like, are there days where maybe you don't get a chance to do it and you hop right out of bed
But,
versus,
yes, there's occasions when I don't do it, but I also feel, because I do it a lot, that I don't have any issues with any sore muscles or pain.
it's
You know what I mean?
cumulative
Yeah.
benefits,
Yeah.
right? You do it right so much, so regularly that you have a cumulative benefits of less aches and pains, right? And when we're not aching and paining, we can handle stress a little bit better. I know, because I live with chronic pain and MS, so I know that when I'm taking better care of myself, I can handle the stressors that come my way. Thank you for sharing that. Any other secrets, any other special techniques that you all do to help yourself come back to your own inner shelter of peace? Okay. Yeah,
Breathing techniques sometimes are very calming.
breathing
Even with
techniques.
your eyes open or closed.
Mhm. Yes, breathing techniques. And breath is, I would say, the number one thing that I recommend to do, to come to. So if you're able to, along with the part 2 things that I shared about starting with awareness and orienting yourself to the room that you're in or the space you're in, is just taking a deep breath. Just one big deep breath, because usually we're holding our breath when we're stressed or we're breathing in a very shallow way. And so when we're scared, we take a shallow breath, we go, and that's all up here, right? And when we're stressed, we're breathing just right here. And what we want to do to massage our vagus nerve, which is an important nerve for so many things, stress resilience is one of them. When we take a belly breath to a place of rest and digest, like everything's okay, you're safe, you're okay. And so taking a nice big deep breath is really helpful. In fact, let's do I'm gonna go to the first page and see if there was any breathing technique that it offered that we could review. Let's do ratio breathing. So a ratio breath, we'll do, it's a 1 to 2. So you breathe in for a certain count, and then you just double the length of the exhale. So the example is 4, breathing in for a count of 4, and then breathing out for a count of 8. All of our lungs are different capacities and all of that, so don't get like hooked up on the numbers. So just start to breathe in through your nose and count in your mind and see where you land when your lungs are full. And then slowly exhale through pursed lips. And see if you can extend the exhale to about twice as long as your inhale. Does that make sense? Okay, let's try that let's go for 1 minute, 1 minute of ratio breathing. And feel your belly expand as you breathe. And empty your lungs completely as you exhale. Return to a natural rhythm of breathing for yourself. And if your eyes are closed, let them open softly and just notice what you're feeling, how you're feeling. Do we feel a little different? Is that kind of a miracle? We can make such a change in such a short amount of time. It never ceases to amaze me. There are so many breathing techniques in the yoga tradition. It's called pranayama, and that's one of them. But if counting doesn't, that just gets distracting, just focus on letting your belly expand, and even put your hand on your belly so that you feel as you breathe in that that's kind of the first thing that moves, expands to let the air in. And then the breath will continue into the ribs and into the chest, of course. And then as you let it out, just think of emptying out all of the air, all of the stale air, just kind of sitting at the bottom of the lungs. So just always coming back to belly breathing and using counting if that feels like it supports you. Any other questions about breathing or any other comments? Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking also that to get my mind off what's going on, like pulling out a jigsaw puzzle or playing a crossword puzzle or a word search or just something that busies your mind, because sometimes if you're trying not to think about something, you think about it more. So I find that I find that if I have a puzzle on the table, that's a good thing.
That's a great idea. Does anyone else do something like that? Distract with a different activity? Yes.
I do the Sudoku.
Uh-huh.
I have a little Sudoku book. And I don't do it online anymore. I find that actual writing helps too.
Oh, yeah. So actually using your body, it's a body activity as well as a brain activity. I love that. Yeah. So puzzles, games, anything that's going to change your focus. Yes. Reading books. Yeah. What kind of books do you like to read?
Mostly mysteries, but I read, all kinds of books. I read children's books, and I read books for me too.
Yeah. Whatever interests you, if you like to read, is a great distraction for sure. Especially children's books. I know that you read the children's books. I feel like they're so lighthearted and sweet, and that's why I like to teach the preschoolers, which I've been doing for 10 years, because you can't really think about war in the news when you have to be in a room of 15 little ones and act like a chipmunk with them.
Yeah.
You just can't. You just have to set it aside, and it gives you a break. We need breaks. That's the thing. So I think what I want to really express is that the cumulative effect of stress really affects our health and our well-being, right? And if we don't give ourselves breaks, if we don't have the discipline to say, I'm going to turn this off right now and I'm going to take a walk, or I'm going to go get a glass of water and listen to a song that makes me happy. If we don't have the discipline to take a break, it's really gonna take hold in our system. And so that's what I want to really instill, and it can be the tiniest activity, the tiniest thing to break the cycle of stress, just for a moment, just to break, because we're not wired to handle all of this all the time the way we are having to. So, should we look at the first page and take a look and see, for those of you that were here last time in March, maybe there's something that you would kind of remember, but you want to review.
And you did this a couple of years ago, and right here.
Probably did something like, not that, because this is a new format, but I probably did review some things that are the same. Yeah, so if you have any questions, or you want to practice something, or have a question about something, yes, Erica.
You wanna go over tapping?
Oh, go over tapping? Yes. Do I have tapping on here?
Yeah.
Where's that at?
Second one down.
Second one, good, okay, tapping. Oh, that's it's one tapping point, actually. If this is really helpful for staving off a panic attack, or for really intense anxiety. I often will use it when I fly. And I did have a period of time in my 20s when I had uncontrollable, unpredictable panic attacks. I thought I was going to die every time. And those are gone, thankfully. And so one of the things I did was this tapping point. And where it is on your body is on your hand. So if you turn, I'm going to turn my hand around so you can see my knuckles. And the bottom knuckle of my pinky finger, and then there's the knuckle of my ring finger, and right in between is a little soft spot on the hand. And so you can just take your other hand, a couple of fingers on your other hand, and just tap that spot on both sides. Either side will work. You might have a side you like better. And I just tap that, and while I'm tapping, I'm breathing nice and slow. I like to kind of stack these techniques. I like to just get the most out of them that I can. So I might also, as I'm tapping, I might also hum, because humming is very helpful for the nervous system. So let's all do that. Let's take a big breath in and let out a hum. And you can do several rounds of breath and hum and feel the tapping, feel the vibration wherever you feel it as you're humming. Humming is really powerful, as singing and chanting. But if you don't like to sing, you can just hum, and it's really, really good for you.
So
Thank
Kim,
you
that's
for
a
that
pressure
question.
point then, is that?
That's
what-
like an acupressure point that is, and sometimes it could be a little sore too. Like I notice sometimes it's sore, but you just tap that. It calms down the triple warmer meridian, which is Chinese medicine. It's like turning down the fire. If you have a gas stove and all the burners are up, it goes, just turns down the fire by tapping that spot. Okay, is there anything else that we want to review? This is our time together to give you tools for stepping back out into the world. Let's use it.
What's groundbreaking?
Groundbreaking, where's that? Grounding?
Grounding, sorry.
Oh yeah, where do I have that? It's good for
At
everything.
the bottom is the third one.
Beautiful, thank you. Oh, I love to do this. So grounding, there's a ton of science on this. If you Google this, you'll get lots of information. But in a nutshell, grounding is being barefoot with your feet on the ground, like on the grass or in the dirt. Not like on treated ground, like not on asphalt, but even a sidewalk is okay. And so our bodies are magnetic, and they just absorb a lot of the frequencies from our electronics, and so that also builds up in our system. And the earth is magnetic, and so when we're barefoot, we're making contact with the earth. It just allows that to, I just think of it as draining into the earth, or connecting back to the earth. And there is so much research around it reducing inflammation and chronic pain, and also helping sleep. So I have an app that tells me how my heart rate variability is. I use it a lot just to help me make good choices, because sometimes I do too much and then I pay the price. So I have this app that tells me like how I'm doing. And the days that I ground, the days that I spend some time barefoot, like even in a chair in front of my house or whatever, the numbers are massively better. They are really show that my heart rate variability is so much better. And that's after like 10 or 15 minutes of being barefoot. So, or sitting, you could be sitting on the ground, like at a park or something. So that's grounding.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So, typically, when you practice yoga, you typically teach inside, so that isn't as effective as being outside
Well, if you did yoga outside, it would be wonderful. Yeah, for sure.
because of the ground.
Yeah, because of the earth, it's so healing, or being at a beach, being barefoot in the sand, same thing, will give you the same benefits. What else? I know you all ate, and it's like, kind of like post-lunch energy. Is there anything else that you have questions about?
Your favorite, you said my favorite, pushing against something.
Oh yeah, pushing for anger. I mean, I know no one in this room is ever angry. We're like just the peace-loving, peaceful people. Never angry, right? If you have anger, using your body to dispel that excess energy is really helpful. So you can push against a wall really hard, or if you're outside against a tree, anything that's going to offer you a stable pushback, like you won't be able to knock it over. Just like
You could do a good stretch
you
with
could,
your legs.
and you can do, because you were here last time, right? I showed you guys. You could actually turn, again, stacking these techniques, you can turn it into a stretch. So trying to stay like in front of that screen there, but you can push against the wall and put your leg behind you and stretch your calves, and you get extra benefit. I mean, and you're doing both at the same time. And also grunting, like you can just push and be like, like let out sound, because sound is so important. And we're so civilized, right? We don't make a lot of noise. We try to be calm and collected. But our bodies want to make noise. Our bodies want to yell. They want to grunt. They want to scream. And we don't have a lot of places that we can feel safe to be screaming. So that's why I have screaming into a pillow, yelling into a pillow, being out in nature, yelling at the beach. That's a good place because the beach absorbs sound, Yeah. Right?
This is bother us.
What other questions do we have?
I was thinking about gargling, because ever since you mentioned that back in March, I've been trying to do that once in a while, I remember.
Good. So you've been gargling, yeah. Like these things that massage the vagus nerve and help to tonify it. That's great. And it's so simple, right? Because we can habit stack with that. So whenever we want to try something new and we keep forgetting like a new habit, we just attach it to something that we do every day, right? So attaching gargling with toothbrushing is really great. I have my friend, I have her tape a magnesium. This is a little extreme, but I have her tape a magnesium tablet to her bottle of red wine because she always has a glass of red wine at the end of the day. And alcohol actually depletes you of magnesium and B12, and that's actually increases stress. So I'm like, have your wine, but just put your magnesium like right next to the wine. That way you're just crowding it out, adding something positive. Anything else that you have questions about? Do we remember the breath of joy? I think we should practice the breath of joy. And we can stay seated or we can stand. I'm going to stand. So the breath of joy. I'll tell you if you have any shoulder injuries or any sensitivities, you can still do it, but just be a little smaller with the movement. Listen to your body. Traditionally, the breath of joy really takes the arms into full range of motion, like so. And you're welcome to do that. Just look around you, make sure that you're not going to hit anybody, and then feel free to keep it small. If you have lower back issues, maybe don't go as low, just keep it like a little bit more contained. But the breathing is really key here. So when you do breath of joy, you inhale, you sniff the air 3 times so that you're full at the end. So you go, so I'm full of air, and then, okay, so let's do that. Sniff, sniff, sniff. All right, then the movement is your arms go up, your arms go out, your arms go up, and then they go down. So let's do it again. Up, out, up, down. So there's your movement. Up, out, up, down. And now if you are like, what is she doing? I don't know what's happening. It's totally fine. Don't even worry about it. So I'm just going to do it. You can kind of follow along. We're going to do with the breath too. Two more. Last one. Good. And then just notice how you feel.
Makes me think of wood chopper.
It makes you think of wood chopper. Well, let's do that too.
Okay.
Why not?
Yeah.
So the breath of joy is actually really helpful for when the light changes and we change seasons. If anybody suffers from seasonal affective disorder or gets a little low, or like we're sitting in here having a meeting and everyone's getting sleepy, let's do breath of joy. So that's what breath of joy is for. It really does energize and help with depression. I think wood chopper is under anger, and if you have a lot of energy and you really want to release it and have a sense of calm after, the wood chopper is great. And again, the wood chopper, you need to listen to your body. So the key to wood chopper is that the voice is not, the sound isn't coming from your throat. So you're not yelling like, ha, ha. You're yelling from your belly, your diaphragm. So it's like, ha. Like have no effort to make that sound. Ha. Versus ha. You hear it? Ha. You put your hand on your diaphragm. Ha. Ha. So there's your power right here, your hara. So now open your legs a little bit, and you can always do this seated. And then clasp your hands. And we're going to take a big breath in. And then, ha! We're just going to cut through like wood choppers, right? Cut through wood. Ha! 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 One more. Ha! Okay. Just notice how you feel. It really does like take a layer away, and oftentimes I notice people laugh afterwards. Why do we laugh, I wonder? Maybe it was the combo, but it frees up your energy. It really does free up your energy. Okay, so while I'm standing, I think those might be the only standing things. Did we like breath of joy or wood chopper? Do we have a favorite?
Breath of joy.
Breath of joy. Nice. Okay, good. So you've got something you can use when you need it. It'll shift your physiology. So you change your body, you're going to change your mind. And when you change your mind, you're going to change your emotions. So it's all a little trail of, a little positive trail you can create for yourself. All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for being with me.
You've been out of joy.